March 26, 2011, and I'm here at Grace Point on Salt Spring Island, right in the heart of Ganges, our main village. And winter now is long behind us. The last frost I recorded at the north end of the island was February 26th. So, as most of you know, most of Salt Spring Island has a very long frost-free growing season. So it's a beautiful morning out here, and we're just going to look at some of the plants and see how they're doing, how they fared over the winter. So Trachycarpus fortunei palms, or Chinese windmill palms, there's no challenge at all for these on our island. They're the most abundant species of palm tree that grow here on our rock. And there's one of my eucalyptus trees I grew from seed right there. That's a hybrid, doing really well. It's getting quite a nice sized trunk on it. So all the windmill palms are doing fine. There's a Eucalyptus nitens there that did really well. That one there took a beating and a half, but it did also in 2008, the winter, December, because it has obviously poor provenance seed, and it's a big tree. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, if it's dead or they're going to be cutting it down or it's going to refoliate. Cistus does fine. Mediterranean plant. These are euphorbias. More euphorbias here. There's hebes from New Zealand. So those do well. There's Cotoneaster behind it. A lot of stuff that self-seeds. Big eucalyptus tree. That's the trunk right there. Those will do fine. A little bit of damage on them, but that's the wind probably off the ocean. They don't like the winds. So anyway, those are mountain gum, Eucalyptus dollarium pliana. And there's Arbutus unitos in there, strawberry trees. And there's the Jubea chilensis, Chilean wine palm. Lots of really neat plants. That's a nice little daffodil. More euphorbias. Lysisteria formosa here, which is fine, and it's coming out. Lots of leaves coming out on that right now. Himalayan honeysuckle. Cotoneaster. Looks like the tea tree took a little bit of a beating. Leptospermum Scoparium. There's Rapiolepis indica there. That's a Indian hawthorn with ceanothus. That one there is the ground cover Joyce Collier. And there's Berberis in the background there. Trachycarpus wagnerianus. Palm. There's bottlebrush callistemon. That never gets damaged. Big bottle brush is growing in there. Chamaerops humilis. That's a Mediterranean fan palm. Thriving as usual. The metal art is not spinning because it's calm out here. Escallonias are common. Here there's a native to Chile. And you can see the self-seeded Trachycarpus palms. There's Kinnikinick there, native species on our island, Arctostaphylos uva-ursi. It's a ground cover. And there's a loquat, Irobochia japonica. That one I grew from seed. And some nice rhodos in there. Bamboo, Camellia japonica. And there's a Sequoia dendron giganteum trunk. This is a giant redwood. It's a Sierra redwood, native to the Sierra Nevadas. Big tree, big trunk. There's a nice hebe there, southern hemisphere plant. Some really neat plants in here. And that looks like a Viburnum tinus, spring bouquet. Buddleia davidii in there. And there's Magnolia Grandiflora. And that is a Forsythia. Carpenteria californicum there. There's the big tree right there, the California redwood. And ligustrum, that's Japanese waxleaf privet. And more euphorbias down in there. There's a nice clump of daffodils there. Aren't those beauties? I love the flowers on those. Magnolia Grandiflora, and there's a Laurus nobilis bay tree. Cooking bay, magnolia coming into bloom there. Probably a star magnolia stellata. There's a hedge of Arbutus unito compacta trees. And what we have here is our famous sable rosei, and it's always done well. Look at the center spears on that. Isn't that a beauty? The construction guys beat the hell out of it with their ladders, but they're doing work on the decks there. But it's coming back nicely, the fronds. There's a Daphne in bloom right there. Looks like Mesotherium, possibly. Nandina domestica in there, and there's some nice, that's a Yucca gloriosa superba, and that could be a recurbifolia yucca. Oakleaf Hydrangea. There's a Aleagnus, looks like Aleagnus variegated. Arbutus, native Arbutus mensaesii, right there with a Trachycarpus fortunei palm. Lots of Mexican orange growing in there. Choicea ternata with hedges of Pyracantha. Jasmine nudiflorum's done blooming. Nandina domestica, there's a yew down there, Taxus. Buxus there, boxwood. Choicea ternata, and there's azaleas. Beautiful heath blooming, there's heathers, there's a nice Chamaerops humilis palm. Mediterranean fan palm, lots of Mexican orange. rhodos, lots of broadleaf evergreens. There's a beautiful Eucalyptus gunnii divaricata, Eucalyptus perniana there. And there's a nice Camarops humilis right there. Mediterranean fan palm. Lots of heathers. It's a beautiful place here at Grace Point. Nice yucca. There's a Jubea chilensis there. No damage from the winter. And a Sable texana. No damage. Cactus and growing in there. A bunch of vulgaris. There's a bleached out looking Aspidistra latier. Grevillea canberra, Australian. More Trachycarpus palms. There's big Viburnum davidis there with Mahonias in the background. Bamboos. There's Pieris in there. Palms. Mixed mash is Helleborus. Looks like Syringia vulgaris in the foreground there. Choicea, there's a beautiful Hebe with tulips blooming in front of it. Nice Hebe right there. And in this garden we have a tiny Jubea, looks like some leaf burn on it from the winter. Beautiful yuccas, another Daphne blooming, fragrant. Gardenia, Klein's hardy. And there's Butea capitata. Variegated yuccas in front. And there's Clematis armandi blooming here, evergreen clematis, very fragrant. Another yucca, there's cactus down in there. Magnolia grandiflora, Eucalyptus neglecta, Rapidophyllum hystrix, palm right there, needle palm, Crinodendron, right there. Here's some of the palms I moved here last July. They're doing really well. There's the ocean right there. That's a Fremontia, that always does well, and that blooms nicely. There's one of my Clistamon I grew from seed. It's never been damaged. Fatsia japonica. There's a palm Brahia armata that's never been protected. Olive. And there's a beautiful Eucalyptus globulus blue gum. Rhododendrons, lots of daffodils blooming. Beautiful Trachycarpus clump of palms right there. Trachycarpus fortunei. There's another Clistamon. That one blooms yellow. That's one of my seed-grown babies. This big blue gum does self-seed. Another Trachycarpus. Azaleas that'll be coming into bloom soon. These are all evergreen azaleas down here. Lots of self-seeded palm trees. So that's what it's looking like right now here in Ganges on Salt Spring Island on March 26th, 2011. Fatsia japonica tree there. Lots of beautiful plants. There's a camellia up against the building there, and Mexican orange bushes. Pyracantha. More palms. Daffodils. There's an oleander right there. Beautiful oleander. Nerium oleander. A Cuba japonica. So you name it, and it grows here on Salt Spring Island. Isn't that a beautiful gum tree? Love the Australian gum tree. So I love broadleaf evergreens too. So it looks nice here 365 days of the year. A nice view right there. Absolutely gorgeous day here, and there's a nice palmy view. Another gum tree in the distance there, you can see it. Anyway, I got lots of stuff to do, so I'm going to do it. Finish filming up here. That's a rhododendron, a white one blooming. There's Sericococa ruscifolia right there, Himalayan sweetbox. Looks like there's a flower. Camellias are blooming, by the way. There's a little flower on that one. Camellia japonica. Mexican orange will be blooming soon. So there you have it, folks. A late March day on Salt Spring Island, Canada. And there's the Pacific Ocean. No, that's not a lake. And those are Ceanothus, California lilac bushes in there.